Episode 6. So, balance in practice on your instrument. So was one that came into my mind. Like I remember at one stage, like I would do long hours practice, and then I would take a break for a long time. Did it help me? It's hard to know. But what I have come to find is that doing at least an hour a day has helped me more than any other way of practicing that I've ever done before. It keeps me way more consistent. There's less pressure in it, there's less stress in it, and you are constantly getting something done each day. And whether that be psychologically in your playing or whatever, you are just constantly like developing each time, and you're not getting shocked the next time you pick up the instrument and you have to play a certain thing or whatever, because you're used to that feeling. That feeling is a regular daily occurrence, and an hour a day is just a super way to go about. I try to do at least an hour a day. Sometimes, recent times I'm doing about 2 hours a day, but like if I get at least an hour done a day, I'm happy. I'm happy that I've worked at that and I've completed that goal. And because as a musician I should be doing that. There's some of the best musicians in the world do 5-6 hours, and it's amazing. But for me at the moment, it's not really what I'm looking for. And the way I practice is very different from a lot of other musicians as well. So that just suits me. I think an hour a day is just a great way. And the things that I have to work on just kind of keep showing up along the way, and then I just go to that for a little bit of the practice. I wanted to talk about a little technique that I was practicing before my latest album to come, which will be released on the 23rd of July. Prim and Primal, Adam Nolan trio featuring Dominic Mullen and Derek White. It was an absolutely amazing, beautiful experience with 6 tracks. Really kick-ass album, and I cannot wait for the world to hear it. Really, really good stuff in it. But before that, like normally before a lot of my albums as well, I meditate. But this was the one album in a long time that I did not. I just was practicing different things. I was like skipping a lot. I was practicing like actually skipping exercise, and just kind of normal day-to-day life. It wasn't too intense like other albums. Like I was just kind of doing my daily things. I was doing my kung fu, I was doing my exercise, I was practicing about an hour a day. But I remember at one stage I didn't practice for 2 weeks. Now when I say I didn't practice, I didn't actually play notes in the saxophone. What I did is this technique, and I'm pretty sure I heard it that John Coltrane used to do it. I don't know how many hours he used to do it. Did he do it a long time or not? But there was some scenario or scene. It may have been in the Miles Davis biography or autobiography or whatever it is book, or it may have been on the back of one of Coltrane's albums. I can't remember. But basically, someone walks into the dressing room just before a show or something like that, and Coltrane's there, and he's just practicing the sax, but he's not playing into it, he's not blowing notes into it, he's just practicing technique. And yeah, that just stuck with me. I thought that was a very cool thing. So I decided to do that for like an hour a day for like 2 weeks. It was nearly every day. I may have missed one day, but for 2 weeks, and it was super. It was super practice. And basically I was just working at different technique and exercises that I really wanted to brush up on. Some of it was altissimo, some of it was just new patterns that I wanted to really incorporate in my playing, and it paid off big time. It was a super new, like my playing came out differently. Like my playing on this new to come album is way different. Like it's me playing, but there's a new level up in it, and a new level of precision in my playing, and yeah, it was like, I feel like I went up like 2 levels, it was really, really cool, it was really interesting. So yeah, I did that for like 2 weeks, then I actually went back to playing for a week, real playing, and then after that week I did one more week, and you will learn a lot about like your own psychology doing that kind of practice, because it's intense, it's grainy, and it takes a lot of patience and mind strength to do that kind of practice. You're developing a certain sense of intuition and feel in your musicality, and you're really getting to a new level of depth on your instrument, and that was basically why I'd done it. It was just a super new world to live in, and yeah, at times it was a little bit like, God, this is hard work, but I found like I could really start feeling the new levels of technique that I was brushing up on, and I was really getting deep into understanding what I had to work on, and just the overall feel of the instrument in a new way. It was super. I recommend it to anyone. You could probably do it on any instrument. On a saxophone, it's great because you're really getting into the technique of it and stuff like that. Piano could be a little more difficult, but if you're a keyboard player, just turn off the sound and then just really go into like practicing your technique, because that's the thing, you rely a lot on sound when you're playing, generally, like, and sometimes like the sound can distract you from technique, and I really, just for a change, wanted to get a little more into technique world, just a little bit. So yeah, that was my way of doing it. You could practice it on probably any instrument, even drummers could practice it. Just hover above your drums, don't actually hit the drums, like just have the sticks and hover above it, and I don't know, practice it for like 3 days, and check out that 4th day, see the difference in your playing. I advise you to try it, and if it doesn't work for you, fair enough, but for me, I felt it did, and I'd highly recommend it, especially those musicians that want to get to a new sense of depth within their playing by means of feel and intuition and technique. So yeah, worth checking out and trying it, and yeah, I thought that was very interesting. Like these days, I find my practice, like, I enjoyed it. Like I find, like, I definitely have a street style of playing, compared to a lot of other jazz musicians these days. I think my style is very kind of street wise, in ways, and I guess a lot of that comes from just playing on the street. I highly recommend that to a lot of jazz musicians as well. Like I have played a lot up against a wall, just looking at a wall in my room, practicing exercises, doing that, and God, it's so depressing. Like, oh God, like it's good practice, especially in the early years. But these days I prefer just going outside, sitting on a bench and playing and just working at my technique and my improv along the way. It depends what style maybe you do, but for me, the kind of free jazz improv kind of stuff that I'm doing, it works because, outside is constantly moving, and, the improv is constantly changing, and you can develop with that, and the energy changes. I was only playing earlier actually, and I found it was interesting. There was one stage I was really getting into the playing, and then like 5 minutes later, I was just tiredness came upon me, and my playing start changing, and I start kind of, let's say, slowing down in tempo or whatever, and then just working at other things. And I think that's a different, like, that doesn't happen, I don't think, as much when you're just playing up against a wall. That kind of sense of, like, you do get tired, but it doesn't, I don't know, I find it's just different when you're outside. There's a different awareness of energy and your own energy, and it's just really interesting. Like, some people pass you, for instance, like, that are really upbeat and happy, and they're loving the music, and then like 5 minutes later, like, some other people might pass you that are just a little tired looking or whatever, and or it's just interesting how when you're playing, how your playing changes sometimes by what you're seeing in front of you. I find that's something definitely to be aware of if you do decide to go out playing on the streets. I think that's just it's actually one of the beautiful wonders of playing outside, because you are getting the full experience. It's not all just super duper. You're really seeing like different levels of energy in people and the environment over a space of time. So I generally do it like for an hour. So I would see a lot in an hour. Like, an hour may not seem like the longest time ever, but when time is moving, when you're moving in your playing, you do see a lot, and your playing does shift, and the tempo changes, and the scales you play change depending on sometimes what you see, and I think that's awesome. I think that's a really just fun experience to have. I'd love to, like, maybe do an album recorded on the street someday. Like, I guess I have done recordings of myself playing on the street, but it would be nice to get a band somewhere, but at the same time have people just moving past, what I mean? Not just like be on a stage and like people just watching kind of still or whatever. Like, it's just, there's something very cool about just playing and people are passing, and something like some people are really enjoying it and other people are getting into it and stuff. It's cool. Like, it's a very visual, aware kind of experience, and you can hear what you're playing, and what you see can sometimes come into your playing. It's kind of hard. I don't know if I'm wording it right, but it's an interesting thing. So I recommend to all musicians, go outside and play. Go outside and play. Your confidence will increase dramatically in your playing. You're really you're going back to the streets and you're really getting into your playing, and you're developing your confidence in a new way. You start letting go more. You're not trying to play everything so perfect and rigid and the best buy ever. You get into a different kind of groove and a sense of feel, and you just start kind of living in the moment and enjoying the flow of the music coming out. And it's good for musicians. I highly recommend it. I went through phases over the years of just like busking and not busking, and there was times I just hated the idea of busking. I was like, oh, I seem so poor. But now I don't give it an absolute shit. Like, I just like go out there and play, and it's paid practice. And sometimes I don't put out the hat, sometimes I do. Depends how much I need the money at the time, but it's something I just recommend. I recommend, like, every musician should do it. It will only help your playing. It will help your confidence. It will help you psychologically. It takes you out of your comfort zone, which could be being in your room just practicing by yourself to no one, whereas you're kind of put in the deep end, but it can be really enjoyable experience. So yeah, it's a fun thing. It's a fun thing. I've had some. Here's a good story for you. I've had some mad experiences when I was playing outside, but one of them just came to mind there, and it was gas. Um, I was playing in the local town hall one day, and I was playing some real happy kind of good vibe kind of thing and upbeat kind of stuff. I was just really enjoying playing at the time, and uh, there was cars passing, and they kind of moved slowly enough past where I was playing, but one woman was in a car, and she was looking over at me like, I was on the right of her, and she was looking over like that, and sure didn't she forget she was driving, and she banged into a car in front of her, I swear to God, and I'll never forget it, like, and I was just like, oh. And like, oh, it was a little bit awkward, so I tried to play the music even better. I thought that was like maybe gonna help their situation. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just like, okay, I'll just keep playing better, and happier and stuff like that. And I remember the guy coming out of the car, and like he looked at the back of his car, and he kind of like he didn't even look at her. That was the thing. He was just. I don't know. He just looked at the back of his car. It was grand, and he just got back in his car and drove off. And kind of gave her the cold shoulder a little bit. And it was gas. She was just like, and I just continued playing. So that was a funny story. I've had some great stories. I mentioned one before. When I was like playing in Dublin. I was playing like just at the top of Grafton Street, and I was playing to get like a bus ticket home, because I lost my wallet, and I just happened to have the sax on me, and I needed to make at least a tenner to go back home, and yeah, I mentioned this before, but I think it's worth getting this down properly. So like in the middle of it, different people would come up to me, and I'd be playing, and they just a little bit of chats now and again or whatever. But at one stage, this girl came up, and she was with her like auntie, and she was like, "I love the music you're playing." It was real. There's a real sweet moment. I swear to God, I was kind of a little bit like taken back. I was enjoying it, but it was real sweet. It was lovely, and I was like, "Thanks very much." It was real kind of woo. I don't know what the word is. Happy go lucky. And but the thing was, she was blind. She had a walking stick, and she was only about 5 or 6. And I was playing the tenor sax at the time, and she was like, "Yeah, I love your music," and all this kind of stuff. And I was chatting away to her, and I think she said she played a bit of piano. And yeah, I was chatting away to her auntie, who was looking after her and stuff like that, and I remember like giving them an album and stuff like that, and we were just chatting about the music and stuff like that, and it was just a real nice moment. But I remember then at the end, she was asking me like, did I have a name for my saxophone, which I never did, like, and I was like, "No, I actually don't." And I was like, "What's your name?" And she was like, "Freya." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll name my saxophone Freya." So my tenor saxophone, for anyone that's interested in what my saxophone's called, it's called Freya. It was after that kind of blind girl, and it was just a nice, really nice moment that I wouldn't have had if I didn't take the chance of just going busking. There's some beautiful moments that happen during busking, and I just recommend people check it out. I remember as they were walking away, then like she was like, "Yeah, it's all about sound." The auntie was saying, like, so it kind of, in a way, that kind of stuck with me a little bit. Anytime I would play my tenor sax, or it was just a concert, or just a thing that kind of stuck in my mind. Like, it's about the sound. It's just about it's about the sound. So. in reference to that blind girl, that just noticed it, and it was nice. So yeah, busking. Any musician that wants to become a better musician, just start busking more, and be aware of your technique when you're doing this. Don't go out in the streets and start playing like lazy or whatever, and really like keep developing yourself. Practice like the way I play outside is basically I'm practicing, but I'm improvising, but I'm trying to make it sound nice at the same time, or enjoyable. So yeah, I recommend it. I recommend it. I've had some great stories. I really mean that. I'm trying to think of anything else. Met a lot of people, like met a lot of friends when I was busking. A lot of people that are friends with me now, just from busking. A lot of people that I just chat away to now, and it's a really nice, it's just a really nice thing. It's very organic kind of thing. Just and it's cool the way people come up and talk to you, and you just chat away. And there's just something that's so obviously healing about music, and how like it really captures people, that their hearts, like, and they're just like, wow, that's lovely, and they go over and they just start talking to you, and they share some of their cool stories, and you're just like, yeah, and you're conversing, and it's just real. It's good, like it's good vibes, and I think it's one of the best ways to develop yourself, and to move forward in your musical career, because you're really in the streets, you're practicing, like, and during all this time, like, I wasn't gigging, so it didn't bother me really. I just went back to the streets and just kept playing, and I got better and better and better, and just kind of said I'd do it as much or as often as I could. I've had times where it was absolutely pissing rain, and I would just sit there and just play and play, and everyone would have left, and part of me was like, yeah, I'm getting so into this now, and like part of me was like looking at it as a challenge as well, and like just playing in all different kind of climates. Like I remember sometimes playing and my hands were freezing, like, and it was unenjoyable at times, but I felt like in ways it definitely developed my playing, because I was getting myself used to playing the instrument in all sorts of harsh environments and stuff like that, and awkward situations or whatever. So yeah, busking. Try it, and do you no harm. You might make a few bob. So that's all for me. Thanks for tuning in. And you can also check out my new Patreon account. I set up Patreon, I'm not sure how long ago now, but I uploaded my first video, and this was from the It Is What It Is album, which was recorded, I forget when it was recorded, but the album was released in November. And this video hasn't been released yet. This is actually filmed footage of the live performance. So I released the first track, The Light of It, on my Patreon, and only Patreon patrons will be able to see that. I won't release these videos till much later, like 3 months later. So if you decide to join Patreon, you'll be getting straight up access to that stuff. There's a lot of other cool, interesting stuff I'll be doing. I'll be doing group chats on it, blogs, album analyzations, talking about other kind of styles of music I like, and just a deeper insight to my musical world, I guess, and sharing some cool, interesting moments and all that. So it's a $5 a month for the first tier, and other packages will come in time. So I'm still early days with it, but really digging it. Patreon is a great platform for further developing artists, and it really seems like a cool thing for jazz artists as well. You can get in a new door into an artist world, and really get first-hand access to some great stuff. So definitely check that out, and it'll be on my link in bio in my Instagram also, so follow that too. The Sound Around Us. Okay, that's enough for me. Peace out. Have a good weekend.